Hey folks, welcome back to another Repel Massive video. So, tonight we're actually getting the Easter units, which is like very, very soon after Data. Like, I don't know why they put these banners so close to each other, right? That makes no sense. But yeah, we're getting the Easter units already on April Fools for some reason. And obviously I will be summoning on them when the banners drop tonight. So stay tuned for that. I guess should be fun, maybe. So as for the units themselves, right? Let's talk about them. So in this video we're gonna talk about May, and Mega Lopunny, and May and Mega Lopunny are they're fighting type striker, but also supports. So it's one of those these archetypes that I personally like a lot because she doesn't do any damage at all until you mega her, like until after your first sync, which is fantastic because because units like strikers do not do damage before they sync, right? You most time you're just setting up for your sync, other than like say like a lance or something, right? You just don't do damage before you sync, so why not just give the kid some support stuff, right? And that's exactly what they did with Lopunny, and it's really, really good, right? So also again, like I mentioned before, Crash did look at the data again and said it was 2 MP. Obviously there are conflicting infos over here, so we'll see what it is when it actually comes out, right? But at the moment it does seem like it's going to be a 2 MP over here. And yeah, so her kit fluctuates like quite a bit from like pre-mega and post-mega, right? So pre-mega, what she has is Headbutt, which is basically useless. You're not going to use like Headbutt ever. And then you got Potion, which is Potion. Then you got X Defense Hold. That's the one move that's going to swap once you mega it. But yeah, you have X Defense Hold to give your team some defense. Then you got Hippity Hoppity, which is the trainer move. And sharply raise speed of your whole team. And +1 evasion for yourself. And then if it's Mega Lopunny, it gives you accuracy and drastically, increases your evasion, right? So, assuming it is 2 MP, something great you could do would be, use it once pre-sync, use it once post-sync, so you get max accuracy, so your high jump kick from when you're mega will not miss, right? X defense all is nice, right? Always nice to have that, and again, especially since you're not doing damage anyways, you'd better off throw out some support. As for your stats, you have really, really good HP, good attack, solid striker defenses, nothing too terrible, and then the really good speed, right? As those are the two stats that you get increased once you mega into Lopunny. The other thing that gets changed is that Headbutt changes into Move Gauge Boost, unfortunately, which is honestly pretty useless for the most part. But the rest of the kit is really, really good. High Jump Kick does have pretty nice base power because of the downside, which takes half of your HP if it misses. But then again, if you use your train move or if you use an accuracy support, you don't have to worry about that. So you basically get that really high BP move for free. And then the interesting part is she starts out as a normal type striker, even though again she does as pre mega she's basically a support. But after you mega, you change the sync into fighting type, so you turn into a fighting type. Which is also a bit of a downside because like you start out with like your first sync's going to be normal type, so that's not that great, but the upside of that is your second sync's going to be fighting type, but you still have the normal type increased base power, right, which is really, really nice. But like most of the time you're not doing much on your first sync anyways, unless you're using one of those units that could really build up a really fast sync nuke or whatever. But usually you do more damage on your second sync, obviously. And then you got Revenge Boost 5. This is pre-sync, which 6% chance of giving back a gauge of your hit. Again, you as a striker, you probably won't get hit that much. Then Solo Fanfare, which buffs your attack by 6 when you use your sync move for the first time. And then after you mega, the the Revenge Boost 5 turns into Propelling Strike 5, which is 60% for one move gauge back. When a move is, it's basically like, basically like move gauge refresh 5. So yeah, that's all really, really nice, right? And then as for the grid, Mega Lopunny does have some nice stuff, right? Ramming speed, extra 30%. A damage buff, especially it went at +6 speed, especially since you could buff speed by yourself anyways, right? And they got MP refresh 2 on your trainer move, which is also again nice to have. As for some other stuff, I got move gauge refresh 2 on high jump kick. Unfortunately, like this batches like units, and I think last batches units as well, they all usually have like lower MGR and MPR for some reason. But yeah, anyways, MPR 2 on X, defense all, HP advantage 3, the more HP you have remaining, the more it powers up the moves, right? Up to 15%. And then potion MPR, and that's basically most of your grid. You got a +20 speed here, which actually could come in handy if you are running her in dual striker comps, which she could really take advantage of because of the fact that, again, she has really great speed. Well, that's, minus the 20. She still has really great base speed. And then she also gives your whole team speed as well, on top of having propelling strike and obviously move gauge refresh on high jump kick, right? So yeah, she really works well as like a secondary striker that also, again, could support your team, could do a lot of damage, right? And obviously, buff your team's speed. You could run her alongside another striker. The only thing is, we don't really have that great of another like fighting striker to run her like with that really fits her. Obviously, we have Wally and Gallade, which is fantastic fighting type striker. But the thing with like Wally and Gallade is, it's also another Mega, so you're kind of competing for syncs over here, which is not fun. So she would get a lot better in the future if we do get a nice fighting type Pokemon that doesn't need to sync as much, right? Although honestly, Wally doesn't really need to sync that much either. Like, you could just run like regular Gallade and still do like pretty solid damage. But yeah, it's obviously better if you do make a Mega Gallade. But she could only get better in the future, right? So that's also a nice sign for her, right? But also means you don't really need to get her right now, right? If you don't, if you don't have gems or whatever, because we just had the first year anniversary, right? Which I actually think it's pretty nice that like overall this month's units are kind of right? I mean, I'm not saying they're bad. Again, Lopunny, Burgh are really, really great. The others are, again, they're not bad, but do have some downsides that aren't too great, right? But yeah, I feel it's nice that this month's units aren't like extremely crazy, since we just had like one Master Fair, like 4 Poke Fairs within like span of a month last month, right? So folks are probably a bit low on gems. So this is again, like I mentioned before, like Lopunny is not something that you really need like now, right? So in terms of like, do you need to summon for Lopunny? The answer is no. If you want her, you could definitely go for her, right? She's, again, incredibly powerful, and she could be much better in the future, which also means, if you don't get her this time, you could still get her like, next time she comes around, which is probably next year, which again is a bit of a long wait. But by that time she would get a lot better in terms of the situations that she could be put in, right? So again, it's not something extremely urgent that you need to get now. But if you really like, May, the seasonal outfit, all that stuff, Lopunny, then again, you could go for her. But yeah, in terms of how deep, right? Just checking her grid, like her grid is nice. It's not the biggest thing in the world. Like, ramming speed is really, really nice to have, but like nothing else is like a huge deal. Like, again, the MPRs are cool, but I don't think you really need 3 out of 5. So it's more of a situation where, like, at 1 out of 5 you basically get like a lot of her kit. A lot of her kit is just on her base kit. Like, you don't really need her grid to make her like really, really good, right? And at 1 out of 5 she doesn't get much here, right? But if you look at like 2 out of 5, You do get some great stuff with the MP refresh on her trainer move and the potion MP refresh, right? But again, not the biggest heal in the world, so it's either you just get her at 1 out of 5 or you go for a 3 out of 5, so you could get actually the extra ramming speed on top of getting, the MP refreshes that you get at 2 out of 5. So like if you're someone who doesn't have that many gems and just want to go for like 1 out of 5, that's totally fine. You don't have to push to get 2 out of 5, right? If you can only afford or don't have that many gems, I don't think you should go for 2 out of 5. 1 out of 5 is again enough. And if you do have enough gems to spare, then you probably would want to go for 3 out of 5 rather than keep it at like 2 out of 5. But yeah, it's just in terms of like, again, how many gems you have overall. But again, she's good. She's really, really good, but not anything necessary. I do think she's an overall much better unit than Gallade. As a huge Gallade fan, I like Gallade too, but as a huge Wally fan myself, I do think Lopunny is much better than Gallade. Although Gallade does like slightly more damage overall, right? But Lopunny's other intangibles are well, they are tangible. Lopunny's other upsides are just fantastic, right? Again, team speed buffs, the defense buffs, the potions are always nice to have. Yeah, and it's just overall great unit, right? So anyways, that's the way for this one. I guess hope you guys enjoyed. You guys think in the comments down below. Again, I will be summoning when there's banner drops tonight, so go check that out. So like and enjoy this video, so channel some more content. I'll see you guys in the next one.